Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am reading a pretty iconic lesbian vampire novel. You'll see me read and share my thoughts on this book. Also in this vlog, I go on a library crawl with my friend Susan. We're trying to see all of the Boston Public Library branches and get them stamped in our BPL passport. Oh my god, nerd shit. But then at the end of the video, I share how I've been getting some cooking and baking inspiration lately. I think it's a fun one. I hope that you're having a good summer and that you enjoy this video. Smell like a jasmine flower, and I have like a whole entire routine that just like smell like jasmine, but if I just want to smell like fresh, oud is such a good fresh scent, and it's unisex, like because it's just like a woody scent. And I gave that scent to my dad and he loves it. Yeah, so that's what I'm smelling like right now. I want to share some initial thoughts on The Gilda Diaries, written by Jewel Gomez. It starts off in 1850s Louisiana, and our main protagonist has just escaped enslavement on a plantation, and she finds herself in the hands of this really like mysterious woman who is named Gilda. She runs like an upscale brothel, and she's taken a bunch of young girls under her wing. From there, our main character is transformed into a vampire. The original Gilda moves on from this world, and our main character takes her name. The thing that I find the most interesting is Jewel Gomez exploring like what the hell are these vampires up to if they are living for eternity, like what keeps them going, and the answer is different for different vampires. Like our main character, she's kind of been like brought under the wing of this certain group of vampires whose real emphasis is like our long ass life is worth living because of our family and friends and like the love that we have for them. That's what makes life worth living. Versus other vampires are more of like that very like hedonistic like stereotype about vampires where they're just trying to like fucking suck. But basically just like they thrive off of the chaos of like manipulating people and having control over people. And in the second chapter, our main character Gilda is now a young woman vampire, and she's kind of like seeing these different life philosophies of different vampires and figuring out like how she feels about it. How our main character was formerly enslaved and like that layer that it brings to her story. For example, one of the powers that vampires have is they can read people's thoughts, and she is kind of like becoming friends / developing a crush on this white woman vampire named Eleanor. And while they're having a conversation, Eleanor is kind of reading Gilda's thoughts and responding to them, and this feels very intrusive to Gilda. Gilda says that she was taught that to so casually take advantage of the ability to read the thoughts of others was rude, as well as a poor substitute for interaction. On the plantation, all of our activities, all of our needs were supposedly met. We were told what we could eat, what we could wear, when to waken, when to retire for the evening. My mother resented that bitterly. She did all that she could to make small variations in the routine, in the prescriptions, so there was some sense that our lives were our own. She used to say, it's a gift. We can keep our thoughts to ourselves and out of their hands. My thoughts have often been the only place I could live freely. I just think it's cool that Jewel Gomez has created like a vampire protagonist that was formerly enslaved, and how these like newfound powers that she has as a vampire, how she like views them through her own experience versus like a free white person who has previously enjoyed a lot of privilege, adding more privilege with like these newfound abilities. I think that those characters kind of like use their abilities differently than how Gilda does, and it's interesting. So yeah, those are my first initial thoughts on the Gilda stories. I'm going to get my hair cut today, so I guess this is the before. I think I'm gonna go more mullet. Something's calling me. I don't know if it's like the summer weather. What are you thinking? How should I get my hair cut? Came back from reading in the park. They opened like a new park in my neighborhood. But yeah, the Gilda stories, I am enjoying this so much. It's kind of interesting because I just finished reading another book that has like very large time jumps. I finished reading A Language of Limbs by Dylan Hardcastle. That book is nothing like this one. Like, they deal with very different subject matters. This is a vampire novel, and A Language of Limbs is about the queer community in like the 70s in Australia. I just like couldn't help but kind of compare the way that both of these books deal with like the large time jumps in their storylines. One complaint with A Language of Limbs was I felt really disconnected from the narrators. There was two narrators in that one. Because yeah, we would just be skipping around different times in their life. Whereas with the Gilda stories, I think that it handles the time skips very well because their characterization is well developed. I feel like it just allows Jewel Gomez to kind of like describe these new relationships and what they mean to Gilda, and you can feel that because you feel like you know Gilda. So Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I think that, yeah, like the voice in this, the voice of Gilda is like just very strongly developed, and you feel very connected to her as a protagonist. I have really been enjoying like the way that she thinks about bringing people into the family, which means like turning them into vampires. And like for her and her like vampire companions, it's like a very intentional thing, and they only want to like turn people who they think will find meaning in like eternal life. The structure of this book is such that each chapter represents several decades of Gilda's life in a different place, because she is a vampire and she's immortal and doesn't age. She ends up having to like move around quite a bit to not stir up people's suspicion. So she gets to see like a lot of the country in a lot of different eras, and I was like pleasantly surprised to open up to one of the pages and it says South End 1955. So we got a little Boston chapter, which was cool. It's the 4th of July, but I honestly don't usually have plans on the 4th because A, like, what is there to celebrate? B, I just like how it's like really quiet because everyone goes out of town. So I just like to chill here with Kashi.
Oh yeah, come on.
I'd like to recite a line from my favorite poem, Live Thy Life.
I thought I was going to finish the Gilda stories last night, but I ended up watching this new show called Adults on Hulu. I think my sister originally recommended it to me, and yeah, I just like watched the first season last night and it was fun. Today, Susan and I are continuing our library crawl of the Boston Public Library branches. Let me show you this. This is like the Boston Public Library passport you can get from any of their branches, and it just has like all of the branches in it and a little spot for you to get a stamp. So Susan and I have been trying to visit all of the library branches. We did a circuit of like some of the like Dorchester and that area branches, and we got a bunch of them. And today we're going to like downtown area Boston branches, so that'll be fun. And yeah, I thought I would show you like what's in my bag. This is a Baggu bag. It's like one of their tote bags that zips up. A lot of the times this just lives in the basket of my wheelchair. I also usually wear like a fanny pack or like a crossbody bag with like my wallet and my phone. And then this is just like everything else that I need to feel prepared when I'm gonna be like out for a while. This is my like cup holder for my wheelchair. I'm just pulling things out. This is a strap that I use when I ride the bus so that they can secure my wheelchair. These are some really strong mints. I really like cherry flavored things, so sometimes I will have one of these instead of a mint. In this bag, I have this like travel pill case with Gas X, Lactaid. I have a lot of friends who are lactose intolerant, Pepto, and Aleve. This is so cute. Every time I have leftover like FSA balance at the end of the year, I will buy a bunch of these for myself and for my mom, but they're these like little first aid kits, and they just have like a bunch of band-aids and some like ointment and wipes. Some of these little toothbrush guys. A Tide pen. I actually think some of this stuff is left over from when I was like traveling, because I don't usually carry these with me, but these are just like makeup wipes, mosquito repellent cream that I got when I was in India, and it actually like, it doesn't have like a very strong smell or anything, so it's kind of nice. You don't have to like smell like bug spray, but it works. Compact mirror and some hand cream and Aquaphor. Yeah, that's what I keep in this pouch. Let's see if I can fit it all back in. I don't know how all of that fit in here. And then I have another pouch. This just has like extra masks. This is a little container with chicken treats for dogs. If I see a cute dog, sometimes I'll ask if I can give them a treat. And I have a computer charger. Oh, this is like to organize your charger. It's like a little Velcro thing. And then a pen. That's it. That's what's in my bag. Okay, now I'm gonna pack it all up so I can go on my library crawl. Bye. I kind of like differentiate between a 4-star read and a 5-star read, in that a 4-star read is a book that I really enjoyed reading, and that will stick with me. And a 5-star read has all those things, but it's just kind of like, it has that je ne sais quoi that just like personally resonates with me. And yeah, I feel like the Gilda Stories is one of those books. I was like especially drawn to Jewel Gomez's ponderings on like, I feel like she uses the vampire characters, or like vampirism, as kind of like a device to explore if you had eternal life and you're living in our world that's like so full of pain and war, what could like keep you going, you know? And yeah, from what I took away from this book, I feel like Jewel Gomez's answer is that you find the reason to keep living in like the friends and like family that you build, as well as music and like engaging with art and learning and reading and writing, as well as like activism and standing for what you think is right even when it's really hard. The last 2 chapters of this book take place in the future, at least from like where Jewel Gomez is writing from, because this book was published in the 90s. Even though times are really dark, and even Gilda herself struggles with wanting to engage in the world. At one point, one of Gilda's friends, who's also a vampire, calls her and tells her, "Listen, Gilda, I get your drift, but you've been holding down the fort for so long, sister love. You forget about the other limits. I mean, the world does exist beyond your property line, you dig? I mean, like right now, I'm in Iowa. You think you got problems? Citizens here are still trying to decide if brown people and white people should eat sitting at the same table, which is pretty funny since there ain't that much food to speak of. The grassroots coalition is having trouble organizing the people into any type of protest. You and me, we're lucky. We can't ever forget our dependence on this earth. They don't have that insight. It's a serious joint, and they're just starting to cop it. We've been practicing for, shall we say, a while. It's a hard row to hoe all the way around, doll. Even though shit's tough, I feel like the vampire characters in this novel still like hold on to a sense of justice. They carry it out through like their eternity, and they're still hopeful that they can get humans to latch on to this way of living. So yeah, and to summarize, I feel like the thesis of this book is really like, if you have eternal life, where do you find meaning? And I think, yeah, Jewel Gomez's answer is activism, friends and family, especially like found friends and family, art and theater and music, and also being gay. Because like pretty much all of the vampire characters in this book are queer. So yeah, I loved this. I think you should definitely read this if you haven't, and also look into Jewel Gomez as an author. I was reading her biography the other day, and she just seems really cool. This is how my Read More card is looking currently, and I put the Gilda stories under Afrofuturism because, yeah, it is technically an Afrofuturist work. In addition to fitting many of these prompts on the Read More challenge, like it could be book by an activist, non-human protagonist, page to screen because Cheryl Donier has bought the rights to it and is looking into adapting it into a TV series, which would be so cool. I hope that happens soon. And then it could also be First Nations author, found family, book with a name and a title. It could be genre I don't read often because I don't usually read vampire stuff. On the regular bingo card, I put it under banned or challenged book because, yeah, it has been. I feel like a lot of books, if you just look up title of book, banned or challenged, there's like some town who has had like some parents who are like, I don't want our children reading that book. But yeah, I feel like because of like the vampires and the gay stuff, this book has made it onto some of those lists. It could also be author of color, indigenous author, LGBTQ plus author on the regular bingo board. But yeah, I actually have a bingo on my regular bingo board, but this is just like, the Read More is my primary challenge this year, and then I just do this one for fun. And if I truly can't get a bingo on this by the end of summer, then I'll use this as my bingo and get the sticker. But I'm trying to challenge myself to like doing this one as my main challenge, and so far it's going well, so I have hope. This afternoon I'm gonna start this book, Salvage by Madeline Rue. I heard Sunny from Sunny Book Nook talking about this book in one of their vlogs, and it sounded really good to me, and I don't read horror often at all, so this is going to be genre I don't read often on my bingo board. Yesterday at the library, when Susan and I were on our library crawl, we usually like to look at the displays that the librarians have put out up front at each branch. That's usually like the new fiction, the Lucky Day books, and then like seasonal displays slash like librarian suggestions. And then I also like to look at the cookbook section in each library, just to see like if they have any interesting selections. Like at the North End branch, there were a lot of Italian cooking cookbooks, like for many different regions in Italy, which was cool. I feel like especially the Copley Library has like such a good selection of older cookbooks as well as like new cookbooks. Like this one's from 2003, I think. A muffin cookbook from William Sonoma, and the cover has like blueberry muffins with the perfect blueberry color background. The pictures are just like really to the point, but like really warm. They're not like overly prop styled, like it's just focused on the recipe, but they have this really comforting quality to them. I feel like I felt really inspired by some of the flavors in here, like particularly the savory muffins, like onion and shallot muffin. That sounds so good. But also like how creative the sweet flavors are, like vanilla pear muffins. Hello, that looks delicious. And then I've been curious to check out one of the Moosewood cookbooks. It's this really iconic vegetarian restaurant in Ithaca, New York. And I think it's really interesting to see trends in general for recipes and like food being served at restaurants. Tofu stuffed portobellos, or asparagus egg salad wrap, pasta with easy summer sauce. Like I'm just kind of intrigued by some of the like recipes they have here.